Hi, welcome back to Enjoying the Word, and we've come to the end of our series on 1 Peter 2. So what we've done is we've focused in on the second phase of the Bible study process, and in this video just going to give a summary of the third and fourth phase, the sort of applicational phase of it. So here's the process. We summarized the initial stage of looking to see what's there, because we have a previous series using John 12 where we go into detail in terms of the look. And we focused in on this phase here, the learn phase, learning how to make sense of what the passage says. And so now we come to the final video where we're going to think about loving and living. That's our response to God's word. So what does the text say? What does the text mean? And what should the text stir? It's that third question that we're dealing with. And it should stir us at the heart level in terms of our affective heart response, because God's word is revealing God to us. And as it's revealing him, it should stir within us a response to him. But then also, it's not enough to just feel something in response to the Bible. It's expected to bring about change. And so we need to think about how to live in response to the passage that we read. So let's think about that then. We'll take these two together, love and live, and we'll see that there is a sense of both permeating all 10 verses. So the first 3 verses here, put away all malice and long for the pure spiritual milk. That's kind of a live type of concept, isn't it? You should be putting away the old life and longing for the goodness of God. But notice that it's the goodness of God that is seen here in verse 3. That's the kind of the root, the cause, right, for us to respond in the way that Peter's describing. And so what is the cause? It's the goodness of God. What is the response? It's a longing for. So it's not just, a to-do list, a thing to do. There's a heart response that's expected here of the believer. So we've got both longing and acting. We've got the love and the live right there. Now in the middle section, from verse 4 down to verse 8, there's a presentation of Christ that's coming through, living stone rejected by men. And that presentation of Christ is supposed to stir in us a heart response, right? So we see the one who gave himself for us, in Paul terms, and it stirs within us a love. He first loved, and so we love, in 1 John terms. But here in Peter, keeping our focus on this text, we've got this description of the identity of the believer. This is who you are. You've been built together as a spiritual house to offer sacrifices acceptable to God. Why? It's a kind of a response, isn't it? So there's the love response to the presentation of Jesus, so that whoever believes in him will not be put to shame. If you believe in Jesus, there's a security there which should stir joy and gratitude and perseverance. Now, for those who do not believe, we've got this whole section here. And so if you're reading this and you're not a believer, then this should bring a response. This should stir your heart to be concerned, because the bottom line is that those who do not believe stumble over Christ. So the blessings, the wonder, the joy of who Christ is isn't there for those that don't believe in him. And so verses 7 and 8 are pointing that out. So in that middle section, verses 4 through to 8, it's really zeroing in on the identity that we have because of what Christ has done. And so that identity should stir our hearts, but it should also impact the way that we live. And then finally, we come to verses 9 and 10. Notice some of the language that's used here. You're a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession. And so verse 10, you were once not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not received mercy, now you have received mercy. Okay, so this is again heart-stirring stuff, to see what God has done for us and how he views us. It's flowing out of that identity section in the middle of this block of text that we've looked at. But I don't want you to miss something here in verse 9. I'll just kind of star it for us. What's the goal? What's the intended outcome of all of this? That you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. That you may proclaim. So in the middle of the section, verses 4 to 8, there's a big focus on our identity because of who Christ is and what Christ has done. This is who we now are. Before that, in verses 1 to 3, the real applicational thrust was about what comes into us. We long for the goodness of God. And here in verses 9 and 10, flowing out of that identity section, it's what comes out of us, that we may proclaim the excellencies of him who called us. So there's the section. That's a really quick run through, but I wanted you to see some of the applicational thrust of this passage. And that brings us to the end of this series. So we've looked at 1 Peter 2 and we've thought specifically about the learn phase. In a future series, we'll take another passage and we'll zero in on the application and give a little bit more detail on how to do that. So hopefully these three series, looking at the look and now looking at the learn, and next time looking at the love live, hopefully put those three together and you'll have something that's helpful for you to be enjoying the word. Thanks for watching.